When it comes to learning about your family's history, there are great resources out there like Ancestry.com that can help you out. But those can only take you so far, and that's when DNA testing may be able to take you further in your search for answers. Well, we have Mr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. here to tell us more about this. Welcome, Mr. Gates. How are you?
Fine. Thanks so much for having me on the program.
Well, I am very familiar with you and the work you do, so tell our viewers a little bit about what this project is all about.
Well, we trace the ancestry of all kinds of Americans: African Americans, European Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, and we examine the paper trail, taking you back to your taking you back to your oldest ancestor, whom we can find in the records. Sometimes that's 200 years, sometimes 500 years, sometimes incredibly 1,000 years. And then when the paper trail runs out, we do your DNA. And your DNA can tell you different things. It can tell you your distant ancestry on your father's line, your distant ancestry on your mother's line, and then my favorite revelation, which is your admixture. And your admixture consists of your percentages of European ancestry, African ancestry, Asian ancestry, Native American ancestry. Every American believes they have a great-great-grandmother who was a Cherokee princess with high cheekbones and straight black hair.
Sure.
And it turns out 99% of them do not.
I love it.
So I make my guest guess. I say, what percentage are you? Are you black? Are you European? Are you Native American? They always guess 30% European, and most of them have less than or 30% Native American, most of them have less than 1%, so it's hilarious. We now, this is the second season we're filming our weekly show, Finding Your Roots, on PBS, and we now do things that didn't even exist 9 years ago, including being able to break down a black person's African ancestry into 9 different regions, which is incredible. And that feature was developed by Ancestry DNA, and you could, for more information, you can go to their website. But we couldn't do that before. We could show someone's chromosome painting, which is what you inherit from your mother and your father. But the real rush, I think, is finding your oldest ancestors and learning stories about them that you never even dreamed existed, and then learning the mysteries of your DNA.
So is this more about storytelling, or are there other benefits to having the DNA test?
Yeah, it's, we are able to tell a new set of stories through DNA that we can't tell through the paper trail. For instance, there was a big mystery in my own family. Jane Gates is my great-great-grandmother. She was a slave, and she had 5 children, all of whom looked white. So we knew the man who fathered them was white, but she took the secret of their identity to her grave. She only told them they had the same father. Well, with a simple Y-DNA test, we now know that he was Irish. And so, since my great-grandfather, her son Edward Gates, was born in Allegheny County, Maryland, we are advertising for anyone who's descended from an Irishman who lived in Allegheny County between 1850 and 1860 to get a free DNA test. And their Y-DNA will match mine. And when the right person comes along, this paternity test will reveal that this person and I descend from the same Irishman. And every time I make a new series, I go by my great-grandmother's grave and I say, Jane, we're going to find him. You took your secret to the grave, but we're going to out him sooner or later.
Well, I
That's
love
exciting.
this. Yeah,
That's very exciting stuff.
I've actually done some Ancestry.com stuff. I have a unique background. My dad is of German descent, my mother's African American. So I'm definitely interested in getting a test like this. Where can people find more information?
Well, there are several testing companies that are on the market, and they're all good. For Ancestry, you can go to DNAancestry.com and find out more information there.
Well, thank you so much. We sure appreciate your time today.